Hello, today I'd like to give you a few tips on checking your 735 more efficiently before starting your shift in order to maintain maximum safety while working. The first thing to do is check out the steps to make sure nothing is bent before climbing up. Once you enter the cab, start the ignition, then turn on the running lights, followed by the working lights. Then run the windshield wiper briefly to make sure it works. Lastly, turn on the beacon. When inspecting the grapple, check all of the bolt connections, make sure all joints are okay, everything is well lubricated, and check the hose lines. On the stick, make sure the pipes are secure and the lubrication pipes are tight. Check the stick limit sensor, the pipe fracture safety device, and make sure all the hose lines are tight and not leaking. Here at the front, make sure the steering cylinders, the lubrication pipes, the steering lines and the tie rod are all tight, not leaking and not bent. Do the same here. Also, check to make sure the axle is not leaking. Check the wheel nuts here and make sure they're tight. Next, open the side hatch on the front of the upper carriage. Now check the radiator to make sure everything is tight and clean. Next, open the engine compartment. Check the water separator, then make sure all of the pump hoses are tight and none of them are rubbing together. Then, check the engine oil. Make sure the V-belts are properly tensioned and undamaged. You can now close the hatch. Next, look under the machine for any oil leaks. Then make sure the underride guard is okay and that nothing is bent or loose. Now, check the rear axle tie rod and lubrication from both sides. While doing so, check the ballast pins and make sure the ballast is secure. You can see from the gap whether or not it's moved. From the back end, check the lighting and the ballast once more, this time looking at the center pin. Check the axle once again from this side. Now open the side hatch. Use the sight glass to check the hydraulic oil level. The filling point for the upper carriage central lubrication system is here. And the grease for the slewing gear lubrication is here. Now check the pilot controller to make sure everything is tight and none of the hoses are rubbing together. Check here to make sure you have enough windshield wiper fluid for your shift. You can now close this hatch. As with the other side, check the counterweight gap to make sure it hasn't moved. This compartment contains the reservoir and filling point for the undercarriage lubrication system. The level is displayed on the SENNEBOGEN. Now, climb onto the upper carriage. Here, check the oil level of the slewing gear. Add any coolant here. Then open this hatch and check the engine from above. If the engine doesn't have enough oil, the filling point is here. Now look at the side of the boom. Check out the fastening points of the stick cylinder again, then make sure all the lubrication pipes are tight and connected. Make sure the boom pins are secure, as well as the lubrication hoses, hoist cylinder, hoist cylinder hoses, suspension unit, and pipe fracture safety device. Now check the main control block to make sure the hoses are okay and there aren't any leaks. Next, check the hoses on the boom to make sure they're tight and not leaking. Also, make sure the boom pin, hydroclean filter, pipe fracture safety device, suspension unit, boom, hoist cylinder, and stick pin are all secure. Now check the fluid levels on the SENNEBOGEN and look for any error messages that still have to be addressed. Once you've done all this, strap yourself in, give the horn a tap, and you're ready to work.